Welcome to this webinar, Digital Fatigue, Why You're So Tired and How to Recover Your Energy and Focus. Can you relate? Do you find yourself reaching for your phone regularly during conversations? Maybe you can't finish a book or get through a movie without scrolling, or can't even remember the last time you had energy for an offline hobby. Our daily digital distractions take their toll, exhausting us and even changing how our brain processes information. The average American spends more than 4 hours a day on a smartphone, according to the book, How to Break Up with Your Phone. Those daily hours add up to 56 days over the course of a year. 56 days. If we add in all the digital devices we're on, it's closer to 7 to 8 hours or more a day. And while this includes streaming TV, it doesn't include work hours. Does that seem too high? If you have a smartphone, look up your average daily screen time. Multiply that average by 365 days in the year. Divide that by 24 hours in the day. That feeling of horror, use it to inspire your own transformation. Too much time online leads to digital fatigue, which leaves us feeling mentally exhausted and burnt out. That might show up as a lack of energy, feeling unmotivated, an inability to focus or take in new information, increased anxiety or a bad mood, a struggle to fall asleep at night, a sore neck, shoulders, or jaw, or headaches, migraines, even a sensitivity to light. But we can change that. Awareness is the first step to making any change in our life. It can also be uncomfortable to notice our habits, kind of like waking up a foot that's fallen asleep. Instead of beating yourself up, which stops us from making conscious change, we're going to make this a game using the same techniques social media apps use to keep us coming back. Positive reinforcement gives our brain a hit of dopamine that hooks us to a habit. Rather than becoming mindless like we so often do online, we'll use it to train our brains to become mindful. Ready to play? Grab a pen and piece of paper. Each time you reach for your phone or check your email or go for any other digital distractions, stop. Take a breath or two, pause the webinar if you need to. In that pause, you can even notice what feeling is coming up, but whatever you do, don't go for the distraction. If you avoid giving in, mark your paper with a check mark. If you give in, draw an X. Your goal is to get more check marks than X's. So let's take a look now at what is causing digital fatigue. To begin with, we are flooded with bits of information coming at us at every hour of the day. We now take in more information than we ever have in human history. We read an average of 100,000 words a day, roughly the length of a 300-page book. All this information isn't necessarily making us smarter. It takes our brain time to read and make sense of information in a useful way. The more we take in, the less headspace we have to reflect on it. Information overload can lower our IQ by 10 points, according to a study by computer maker Hewlett-Packard. One way to combat digital overload is to limit your screen time. Some effective ways to do this might be keeping your phone out of your bedroom at night, setting time aside in the evening and or morning when you will stay off email and devices, taking days off from screen time. And if you find it difficult to stay off social media, consider deleting the apps from your phone or taking a social media break for a day, week, or month. Another cause is all of our devices. Our attention is continually pinged and dinged from different devices and streams of information. During the day, we may find ourselves switching from working on our computer to receiving a text, or getting dinged by an email to pausing to scroll social media. This constant switch between devices and different apps on each device is draining. It cuts into our ability to focus and makes it harder over time to concentrate. Each time our attention is pulled away from a task by a digital ping, it takes roughly 25 minutes to get our focus back on track. An antidote to that is to use technology to your advantage. On your smartphone, you can turn on focus mode and turn off notifications. Delete social media apps. And if all else fails, consider a phone lockbox. On your computer, you can block off focus time for one project or use the Pomodoro technique, which encourages working for 25 minutes on one task and then taking a short break. Another antidote is to find flow. Flow states are those times when we are fully engaged in a hobby or task and we lose track of time. Flow states replenish us. We feel motivated and fulfilled when we're in flow. You can use the idea of flow during those times when you feel exhausted, scattered, unfocused, or find yourself numbing out in front of a screen. Simply pause and ask yourself what's meaningful to you that you can turn your attention to. This is a way to find flow, according to Johann Hari, the author of Stolen Focus, Why You Can't Pay Attention and How to Think Deeply Again. Now we get to the third cause of digital fatigue, multitasking. Your brain is not a computer. It can only hold one cognitively demanding idea at a time. When we try to multitask, our brain is simply switching from one task to the other, back and forth. We lose our ability to truly focus on either of the tasks. The idea of multitasking comes from a description of how computers work starting in the 1960s. When we humans multitask, it results in lower productivity and performance, as well as an inability to focus on one task. And it's exhausting. And in case you think you're a great multitasker, studies show multitaskers tend to think so. A major study found experienced multitaskers are comparatively bad at holding onto important information or weeding out irrelevant information. Every task they multitask at, they do worse than those who were single tasking. The antidote is to slow down. Slowing down is counter to everything we're culturally programmed to believe, but a growing body of research shows it is the fast route to counter the urge to multitask. Do one task at a time. Practice yoga, tai chi, or other slow-moving practices that build focus and replenish your energy. Meditate. Meditation is one of the few things that can counter the onslaught of digital distraction and train the mind to focus. There are many different styles, and you can start with as little as a few minutes as you build the habit. Over time, all of this screen time adds up and takes a toll on our physical and mental health. Research shows that too much screen time changes the structure and function of our brain. It can cause mental exhaustion, poor memory, lower IQ levels, shortened attention span, more stress, heightened anger and agitation, and weight gain. One of the best habits we can start to cultivate is returning to the physical world. Spending time offline replenishes us. Time in nature has been shown to reduce stress. Reading physical books instead of ebooks lowers stress and can help you sleep better. Studies show we read screens differently than we read physical books. When spending time in front of a screen, follow the 20-20-20 rule. After 20 minutes of screen time, look away and gaze at something 20 feet away from you for 20 seconds. This can reduce stress and eye strain. Daydreaming is a really important way to counter digital stress. Far from making you lazy or unfocused, mind wandering allows our brain to digest information we've taken in and make sense of it. It's why those great ideas come to us when we're in the shower or on a walk. Mind wandering has been shown to help us problem solve, be creative, make sense of our world, set personal goals, even make better long-term decisions. So make some space in your day to let your attention roam. The most foundational lifestyle habits that support our health also help replenish us and counter mental exhaustion. Focus on these basics: good nutrition, cut out processed foods, and focus on whole foods. This improves focus, mood, and energy. Get 8 hours of sleep at night. Good sleep reduces stress, improves mood, and lets us retain information we take in during the day and make sense of it. Exercise and move during your day. Both reduce stress. Nurture your relationships. Spend time, in person if possible, with those in your life who give you a sense of connection. Finally, the problem isn't you. It's your devices. While there are things you can do on your own to cut screen time, some of it is simply beyond you as an individual. You may have a job or studies that require you to be in front of a screen or reachable by email at certain times. Beyond that, there are forces that are working hard to keep you online. Social media, web browsers, ad-supported websites are all designed to keep your eyeballs glued to the screen. They rely on advertising dollars, and they make more money the more time you spend scrolling. Because of this, putting the burden completely on you to fight digital fatigue is a form of cruel optimism, Stolen Focus author Hari writes. He says that we need collective solutions that create limits on how digital companies engage us. All right, look at your scorecard. How many times did you successfully resist digital distractions? How many times did you find yourself pulled to do something else and give in? If you resisted digital distractions for the entire webinar, you're in the elite when it comes to holding your focus. Keep up the good work. If you scored 1 to 2 X's, you're in good company. The average American checks their phone about 47 times a day, 82 times for those aged 18 to 24. So it's time to build some new habits. If you scored 3 or more, put your phone in a lockbox. It's time to make some big changes. Now, pat yourself on the back for doing the hard work of noticing, and choose 1 to 2 tools that you can start incorporating into your life. Your attention is your superpower. Use it wisely. Thank you for joining us today. You can find information to reach us on your screen.